Welcome to my bathtub. Good morning. Actually, I'm a little bit frazzled right now because literally 5 seconds ago, I almost hit a whole ass deer. And yeah, I don't know how I didn't hit it. Jesus, take the wheel, I guess. I don't know. But anyway, me and Dougie Beans, poor little Dougie Beans with the soul of a little cherub child. We are on a recon mission. We're doing some research. We are checking out the gym that I'm thinking about getting a membership at. Yes, I have not gotten that membership yet because I'm scared. But we're checking out the volume of people here early in the morning. Actually, it's like 7 in the morning. It's not that early. But if you see like all these cars, yeah, that's kind of a lot of people for 7 in the morning. Just maybe a little bit less than there was when I came and checked it out at 5 p.m. So I think it's going to be one of those situations where I'm just going to have to get over it and just do the damn thing. But we're going to actually come back a little later on today and maybe take a tour. I want to like see the place and see like all the little cubbies like a hide and work out. I know that this is really like maybe annoying and silly in a lot of ways, but it's just how I am. I get super nervous about starting new things. This is no exception. I don't know if it's because I'm in a new town or what, but I'm having a lot of anxiety about like going back to the gym, or the fact that maybe we're post-COVID. Well, not really post-COVID. We're kind of still in the thick of it, but not as bad as we once were when everything was shut down. Maybe that's adding to my social anxiety. I don't know. Every once in a while when I start new things, I just need to like research the hell out of it before I commit to actually doing it. So I guess having more knowledge on something makes me feel more secure. I don't know, but everyone that I've seen go in so far is like super fit, not a fatty in the bunch. So that's fun. Yay, Colorado. No, it's good that they're fit. It's just it's just I'm going to be the odd one out. Whatever. Anyway, Dougie Beans, are you ready to go on a walk? He really don't blink at all. It's kind of creepy sometimes. He'll just be like staring at me for hours. Okay, first things first, before we tuck into this, I guess I'm gonna take my supplements. Been taking B12, keratin, ashwagandha, fish oil, and what's this last one? I don't remember this last one, but it was for a reason. I could look on this thing, but. Does anyone else have like a really hard time with pills and taking them? Because same. Welcome to my bathtub. I don't typically wear a bathing suit in the bath, but we're trying to avoid titles like this again. So this is what we have to do on vlogging days. Not gonna see my areola again. But yes, I have been taking a lot of baths lately. I set up a whole bath desk, which is what you're sitting on now. It's probably the best thing I have ever done in my entire life, especially after all the cramps from the IUD. Been a game changer. Bath desk keeps me productive and comfy at the same time. So snaps for bath desk. But yeah, so I started the hypnotherapy, and as a little bit of hypnosis homework, I have to practice self-hypnosis for like 5 to 10 minutes a day. You know, I think it's pretty on par with like what I imagine meditation to be. So it's difficult. I'm not very good at like just sitting and trying to think of a specific thing. I'm very good at sitting and letting my mind just wander. Very good at that. And then you set some kind of intention. You could start out super simple. My therapist told me I could just start out by trying to focus and being aware of my body and my breath and those kinds of things. And then eventually you move into kind of imagining you accomplishing your goal or imagining the person you want to be. So that's what we're going to do now. I'm going to set the timer for 11 minutes and just kind of go through that. It's probably going to look really awkward on camera, but okay, so basically that's what it looks like, a whole lot of just sitting still and thinking, like playing a movie to myself of what it would look like having a healthy, balanced life. But supposedly, if you act like you already do those things, eventually you won't be acting anymore and you just will be that. Okay, I'm headed to the gym. I'm just gonna full send it and go take a tour. We're gonna just buckle up and do the damn thing. Una poca de gracia pa mi partida, arriba y arriba. Yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Okay, fuck it, let's go. Okay, so that was awkward as hell. First of all, I made a critical mistake. I'm wearing normal street clothes in the gym. So like I stick out kind of like a sore thumb, you know what I mean? And there's those people who like change in the locker room or whatever, but I didn't see anyone else in normal street attire. So like here my ass is in some flannel and ballet flats popping around the gym. So, you know, I stick out. Secondly, I go up and I ask the guy, because there's two people at the front desk. And mind you, I've called ahead and I was like, so what's the deal with like getting a gym tour? Do I have to make an appointment for that? Like, you know, what's the protocol? And basically they were just like, you could just come in whenever, like it's not a big deal. So I get up to the front desk and I ask this guy, can I get a tour situation happening? Just kind of curious what all you guys have. And he like looks at me and he's just like kind of blinking and he's like, well, so do you want me to like take you around? Or do you just want to kind of like walk around? I was getting the gist that he didn't want to like take me around. So I'm like not going to inconvenience anyone. And I'm just like, okay, I'll just walk around. It's fine. Even though I don't know where anything is. But come to find out, as soon as I start walking around, I don't need to know where anything is because it's one giant room. There's no division of any of the spaces. It's just, here's cardio, here's weights, here's a stretching area, and around the perimeter of this giant room with all this equipment in it is a couple racquetball courts, some studios for classes, and a swimming pool. And all of these rooms have giant windows, so everyone that's in the weight section can see what the people in the rooms are doing, which I don't really like. There was a Zumba class happening. It was packed asshole to asshole with people, so I know I wouldn't want to do that. The pool was empty, but again, like I said, it's just a giant window, so anyone could watch you struggling in the pool. Yeah, so I don't know if that one's for me. I definitely can't see myself filming myself in there, which would really suck because, you know, because I'm documenting my whole thing, but also I couldn't really see myself working out in there because there was just so many people and like so much going on. Like I felt my cheeks getting hot and like getting really nervous. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I think I'm gonna look for another place that's more low key because I don't know, that was like a whole lot of intimidating. Okay, we're back home. My new thing is putting the camera in the fridge. We're gonna have some leftovers from last night, which is beef and broccoli. This angle doesn't look that appealing, and then like just some rice. That was a super easy meal to make last night. I just got some ground beef. I put some soy sauce, some sriracha, and a little bit of honey. Put in some broccoli, and that was it. We just got a package. Let us open it up. What is this, you might ask? Oh, it's soundproof material for Douglas's Thunder Cubby. I'll show you what I mean. So my dog is terrified of thunder and any kind of loud booming sound, as most dogs are. And it just so happens I live by an army base and they do artillery like every single night. And I didn't know that they did that when I moved here or else I might not move here. The sound doesn't really bother me. It just sounds like thunder, but it really bothers Douglas. So I was trying to find solutions to that. I found these like treats for him to eat. They're supposed to help with like calming. The vet gave him some like doggy Xanax, but like only a few pills. So I guess like when it's really bad or really loud, like 4th of July, Douglas is going to be medicated, the poor soul. But other advice was basically just to exercise them and get a kennel for them so they have like a safe space. So welcome to Douglas's Thunder Cubby. And my thought is that I am going to use this soundproofing that I bought off of Amazon, attached to the walls and then like to the outside of and the top of the kennel so that it, you know, maybe helps with the sound a little bit better. I like how this comes apart. Ready? It's so satisfying. ASMR. Thunder Cubby. It sticks to the wall pretty easily. Cool. Now watch this speed lapse of me putting foam in the Thunder Cubby. Okay, so as far as like the foam stuff goes, I didn't have enough to go around the entire ginormous Thunder Cubby, but we just set 6 of them on the ceiling of it. There's 3 taped to the outside, and then we got this little corner situated. So it's not ideal, it's not completely encompassed like I thought it would be, but it's a start, and then I'll order some more for him. Oh, that scared me. It's his egg. Yeah, but I'll put the blanket back on, and the blanket is unwashed and it smells like me, and that's supposed to help too. So I don't know. Nothing really seems to help that much, besides obviously the doggy Xanax. So if you guys have any suggestions on that kind of stuff, let me know, because I'm running out of options. Okay, so I told you guys that I would spill the tea on hypnotherapy. So I signed up for 3 sessions total. So far I have had 2. They have lasted for about 2 hours a piece. What's really nice about like the 2-hour sessions is you have a chance to really get comfortable and work through some things in that time frame. Like my regular talk therapy sessions are just like 45 minutes long, and it feels like when we start really like getting into it, the session's over. Basically, I was so nervous for this the entire day. I was like, oh my God, what's gonna happen? Why did I do this? It's just how I am about most things. So like the 30 minutes prior to actually doing the hypnosis, it was basically me going over my goals and being as specific as possible. You guys know, like, I'm trying to stop binge eating, so my goals were specific to that. She made it as specific as possible. Like if I would say I want to start eating at home or cooking at home more, she'd be like, okay, how many days do you want to start doing that? What kinds of foods? Because I guess the more specific, the better for this kind of stuff, which I guess makes sense if you're thinking about it in terms of visualization. So after this interview phase, it was pretty standard what you would think hypnosis is. You know, you sit back, you get comfortable, focus on breathing, and then the whole, you're going deeper and deeper. Let your conscious mind take a back seat while your subconscious comes forward, and allow it to be in the driver's seat or whatever. Then she has me picture this like dry erase board. I write the number 100, then I erase it,
write the number 99, erase it. And in my head, while all of this is happening, I'm like, I can't picture it right away. Like I felt like I wasn't doing it right to some degree. So I kind of had the inkling that hypnosis was going to be very hard for me to accept, I guess, because I need to be aware constantly. It's kind of like an anxiety thing. Like I literally don't go to bed at night until I am drop dead tired. Like I'll force myself to stay up like listening for sounds. So I knew I wasn't just gonna like, you know, succumb to this. So I was very aware the entire time, but we did do two things the first session that I thought were actually really interesting. So the first thing was establishing an anchor. And basically what that is she had me think and visualize and like really like imagine a time in my life where I've like achieved something or I've overcame something. And basically what I thought of was the time when I was running on the treadmill and my calves were so sore and like my whole body felt like giving up, and I just pushed past that barrier. All of a sudden I had like this new vigor in my step. It was the closest I think I've ever been to like that runner's high. And I'm not a runner at all. Let me just tell you, but like this was probably like in high school or something. And I remember thinking like, oh my God, this feels amazing. Feeling like absolute shit and then somehow being able to push past it and then just like this feeling of euphoria. So I imagined that specific moment and she had me keep imagining it, and then she's like, okay, now pick a gesture, pick a physical thing you could do right now that will tether you to that moment. So I just picked this, like the act of putting my pointer finger and thumb together. Every time you do that, you will go back to that moment of time when you had that breakthrough, when you were able to push past. And then she kind of like did it over and over again, like a couple more times. She had me visualize it and then put my fingers together like that. And so it kind of tethers that thought to that gesture.
Hi, Editing Bee here, and I just want to interject for clarification. You're supposed to do that anchor gesture when you're procrastinating or you feel kind of this like resistance to doing something that you know would be beneficial for yourself in some way. It's not magic, it's not going to make you do the thing, it's just something that reminds you of that moment of time when you did push past and you did the hard thing and how good you felt. So it's kind of like a motivator in that way.
And the second thing we did in this session, she asked me, where's your internal resource? And she's like, right away you picked a spot in your body where your internal resource is. So I chose right here, which is funny because that's where I get the pain. You know how I was telling you guys I get like a pain when my diet's really bad or whatever else? It's like this pain right here. So I picked that for my internal resource. I don't really know why. And then she's like, okay, now what's its name? And immediately in my head, I just like, Billy. And I didn't say it out loud. Yeah, I was thinking in my head, I was like, oh God, that's a stupid name. Pick a new name. Pick a different name. What's your internal resources name? I was kind of like having this internal struggle because I was like, the name Billy's stupid. Who names their internal resource Billy? And mind you, I never like picked that name for anything. You know what I mean? So it was very just random. And so I like mull it over in my head for like a second, maybe like a couple of seconds. And then I decide, you know, I should just go with the first thing that I said. I kind of laughed and I was like, it's Billy. And that's not super significant, except for like once I got out and we were having another like kind of sit down conversation, I told her like I was having a lot of trouble like getting into trance and I don't think it worked, and I was questioning myself, and I was like, for example, when you told me to name my internal resource and I said Billy, in my head I was like, Billy's a stupid name or whatever, pick a new name. And then I went with my first option. And she was like, that's funny because your subconscious is the one that immediately knew. It was immediately like Billy. And then your conscious mind was the one that came in and doubted that and like, you know, said, oh, that's a stupid name. So I was like, oh, that's so interesting. You know, the fact that like I had this whole like internal back and forth with myself, like the immediate answer and then the questioning. And then the second session was a little bit different because I was already feeling like really resistant. And I kind of had a feeling that this one was going to be more intense because, you know, the first session of anything is just going to be introductory, really, establishing some kind of rapport. So it's not as scary as the second session where we might actually get into things. I was almost like frustrated. She was asking me to describe things and my mind was literally blank. And it was weird because normally I'm a really imaginative person, but maybe I was like trying to protect myself from what was to come. Like this session had a lot more to do with shame and guilt and stuff. She was having me like go back in time and think of like binging and when I would binge eat and times I was ashamed of myself and like all of this stuff. So like my first memory was like me being 16 years old in the car, you know, freshly getting my driver's license. And of course, like I hit up like all of the fast food joints, you know, and I would binge and I would be like alone and isolated. And then like it went back to the next memory and the next memory and the next memory. And eventually it got to the place where I knew it was going, but I didn't want it to go. And that was basically just talking about my dad. As you can see, that's a bit of a touchy subject. That is where I feel like I need to do the most work emotionally. Just kind of figure all that stuff out. And I feel like at the beginning of the session, I kind of knew where it was going. So that's why I was resistant. That's why I was frustrated, because I didn't want to get to this point. You know what I mean? We ended that session and it went like 30 minutes past when it was supposed to end, because she was like, I felt like at the end there we were really working through some stuff, so I didn't want to stop you. I wanted you to kind of come to this resolution. And so like I really appreciate that about her. She'll like extend the session, you know, without extra charge if she sees fit. I really get the vibe from her that she's like really wanting to help. But so at the end of the second session, I felt pretty good. You know, I felt like I kind of like released some things. I would like remember things that I hadn't thought about in a really long time. And, you know, it just kind of like dredged up a lot of stuff. So the rest of the night was a little bit difficult, and then I didn't really sleep. She also told me that I might have bad dreams or like nightmares, and she's like, those don't necessarily mean anything, but you know, when you kind of go through that, it kind of just brings some stuff to the forefront, and then, you know, you have dreams. Which, fun fact about me, I have not dreamt anything in like maybe 3 to 4 years. I used to have really crazy night terrors where like I'd wake up and things from my dream would still like be in the room, because, you know, you're in between state of like consciousness and sleep when you first wake up. Well, sometimes, I don't know. So I'd have like really vivid nightmares. I'd had really vivid dreams, like mostly every night. But at the end of my breakup, I got on an antidepressant. I did not have a good experience with that medication. I'm not saying anything bad about medication, by the way. Let that show in the record. I believe in people getting the help that they need by any means necessary. If medication works for you, I 100% support that. You know what I mean? I tried one antidepressant and I had a bad experience on it. Ever since I got off of that medication, I have not had any dreams, which is crazy, right? Yeah, so I knew I kind of wouldn't have any dreams after that experience, and I didn't. But anyway, to the things that it's supposed to be helping, the binge eating. I've been doing really good lately. And whether it's some kind of placebo effect or not, if the placebo works, do we really care? I just feel good. I feel like I could like work through shit. And at work, it's been kind of stressful lately, where we've been going in every single day of the week. We have like this huge event coming up that we have to get ready for, and it's very like kind of like a nitpicky kind of thing, which is just like very stressful, and like all these very important people are coming, and I don't know, it's a whole thing. But I haven't had the urge to binge, and I just like, I've been cooking at home and I stop eating when I'm full, and I don't know, I've just been making pretty decent decisions, drinking more water, exercising a little bit here and there, you know, without like actively trying to, I just kind of do it without like a purpose or an end goal, you know what I mean? So yeah, so far it's very interesting, and I like the fact that she's like, I'm teaching you how to do it to yourself, so eventually you won't need me, and you might need like someone to help facilitate when, you know, really hard things happen in your life. But for the most part, I'm giving you the tools so you could do it for yourself. So I really like that aspect about the therapy. I don't know, you could just kind of tell she's not just trying to like get my money and keep me hooked on therapy for the rest of my life. Like, I feel really good about it, and it feels like refreshing in a way. But yeah, so I have one more session left, and I might do a couple more sessions just to kind of like solidify some things and really work through some things. I don't really know how much I'm going to tell you about like the dad stuff, just because it's kind of personal, and as you guys can see, makes me like very emotional. I don't know how public I want to make that. So I'll kind of decide, and you know, if stuff comes up that I feel like sharing, then I will. But anyways, yeah, I'm very hopeful, and I thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next one. Bye!